Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life groups to the freeway nights. We turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Yeah, it's the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life groups to the freeway nights. We turn small rooms into launch pad flights. We begun surfing waves too low. Made our own rules everywhere we go. Held tight to the truth that our parents declared. Anything is possible, the love stayed there. Now Rob's daughter ballin' on the end scene. Ole scene. Will's kids live dreams we never could have seen. This the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights. We turn small rooms into launch pad flights.
I mean, I'd be happy to. Let me think how you want him to fit in.
I think it would be cool. I mean, we can't tell them what it is that we're saying about what you're talking about right now, because we want that to be a surprise.
Yeah.
It's all surprises at the Vibe Room.
It is all surprises.
It is.
It's all surprises at the Vibe Room. What is Kelly Cardenas going to wear?
Well, it's interesting.
Wait, is this thing on?
It is,
Okay.
man. I think the interesting thing was the discussion that we had for the last probably hour
Pretty much.
was based around you had asked me. My wife will want to smack you for this one too.
I know. Go ahead and say it. You say it.
Well, I got to preface this because I wasn't asking this. You asked me. You said, would you cheat on your wife for $10 million?
For an amount. I think what we had been talking about was payoff. I think you said it. Payoff often drives our actions.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Basically, it was based off of doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? Doing the right things most of the time is based off the payoff.
Yeah. And even if it's a good payoff, it's still based on payoff. Like you asked me, I did something I consider to be morally a right action at a show. And you're like, well, and I said, I didn't need the money. I'm going to do the right thing. But the payoff ended up being, personally, that I felt good about it. So God does actually, you know what? I believe God gives pleasure in right actions. He gives pleasure in many things. Pleasure, people.
Does he give immediate pleasure though? That's the part that sometimes frustrates me with my relationship with God, because, and I talk to him just like that, where I'll be like, most of the time, and I don't know if this is with you, most of the time what I find is if I do something silly, I get an immediate pleasure payoff.
Mm-hmm.
If I do something good, it's a delayed payoff.
Well, nobody cheats on their wife because in 10 years it's going to be awesome. They usually do it because there's an immediate payoff, and we're not going to say that like everybody can think it, okay? But that's what led me to ask the question, and it was based on that movie, and you said it was called
Indecent Proposal.
Yes, I said, okay, so I had been arguing that, and here's one of my principles. Fear of flying doesn't go away just because the plane is on the ground, okay?
Yeah.
Just like being kind, there's no credit to you when there's no extra grace required in a difficult situation. It's easy to be kind to really awesome people, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing shifted when we started talking about payoff. So what's the payoff? Well, if I asked you to cheat on your wife for $100, you'd go, what are you talking about? But if I said 5 million, or if I said $1 million, or I said 10 million, 100 million, then your brain starts to think. Everyone starts to think. Even if you are
the greatest
Gandhi or Billy Graham, or I don't know, pick somebody who really, truly does walk the walk. Jimmy Carter. Ask Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter said, when asked if he had been cheated on his wife, he goes, I have in my heart. I'm like, you're a great man. You literally are a great man. An adulterer. Have you ever committed adultery? And he goes, I have in my heart many times. I'm not a good Jimmy Carter guy. And you know what? I don't think anybody remembers what Jimmy Carter sounds like. Not people who watch podcasts. But okay, so I asked you, I said, would you cheat on your wife for $10 million?
Yeah.
And what did you say?
I said no. I mean, because I think of all the collateral damage, right? So I think of all the collateral damage. Number one, the collateral damage to my throat because my wife would cut it. But I think the other parts of the investment that I have, in my kids, the relationships that I have outside and stuff like that, I think that part is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I was just adjusting. I was adjusting a little bit of lighting and stuff like that.
To make me look better?
Of course.
Thank you very much.
It makes you look better. It makes me look
Appreciate
better.
Yeah,
it's the whole nine.
It is better to look good than to feel good.
But I think the thing that I was asking you is, there's 4, when I say pillars, I think that's an overused word, But it's almost like legs to a table, right? So 4 legs to a table, personally, professionally, spiritually, financially. Take one of the legs away from the table, table is wobbly. Make one of the legs shorter.
Table's wobbly.
Make one of the legs too long or too strong. Yeah. Table's wobbly.
Not a good table.
Right? And so I was just asking you, okay, say financially, it's very simple to make very wise financial decisions when finances aren't an issue.
Right. It's very easy not to steal when nothing you steal in this area are going to change your life. That's like saying, if you're in a room where there's just $10 items, of course you're not going to take them.
Yeah.
But when there's
unless you need $10.
Unless you need $10, in which case it reminds me of Les Miserables, one of my favorite. I mean, I don't love musicals, but I love Les Miserables. I can sing the entire thing. I'm not going to do it here.
Why do you like that one?
Because of the stories. But here you have, in the very beginning, you have a poor man who steals a loaf of bread to feed his family. So he makes the choice to steal a loaf. He gets 19 years, 19 long years, Jean Valjean, for stealing the bread.
Yeah.
But he stole the bread because he needed to feed his family. How does that fit into what you're talking about with
Well,
pillars?
do you see that as honorable?
That's a question. If you keep going along your thought process there, he was at his base level where he didn't have food and his family was dying. So he made the decision to break the law, to do what was wrong. And he got 19 years, 5 long years for what he did, the rest because he tried to run away. That's literally a quote.
You know what's funny is I went by myself in London to see Les Miserables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
and
wonderful.
I sat in the middle, and I didn't realize it was during the summer. It was in August, and there's no air conditioning there. So I dressed up to go to the theater, and I was sweating balls the whole time. I think it's that part is strange though, because okay, so if you're
go back to the 4 pillars.
Yeah, if you're satisfied in that area, and we talked about it, where if you're satisfied in that area, you have the tendency to make good decisions.
Like financially.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
makes sense.
If you have, let's call it 4 months worth of bills in the bank, you're less apt to make a stupid decision that would be outside of character.
Yeah, like an uncle of mine once said, my dreams and reality are in balance. Brilliant. My dreams and reality are in balance. That guy's probably not going to make unwise or inappropriate or unethical financial decisions.
So do we adjust our dreams at the time that at specific times so we're not? That's a tough one. My dreams and reality are in.
My dreams and my reality are in balance.
Okay, they're in balance.
He's not taking extra business trips because he's thereby leaving his family. He's not making decisions one would make when either their needs, their wants, or their desires are not met.
See, this was a tough one too, because I remember with my brother, he gave me a tough time, and I justifiably so. He was saying that a lot of you got to take.
No, keep going. No, I'll take it when it comes.
He was telling me that I was making a lot of decisions only based on my business, right?
Okay, so how does that fit into the 4 pillars?
Well, the reason why is because at the time, my appetite financially was not met. So I was, I was in the early stages of a business, and every single thing that I had, I was pouring back into my business. I was traveling. I had kids at the time. I didn't have the luxury of not.
Okay.
Now, he was working for a company at the time, and he kept telling me, he was like, you're kind of a workaholic. You got to prioritize your family. You got to do these things. It was interesting, though, because he didn't understand what I was going through until he opened his own business. And in the first couple of years, he had to make sacrifices. Now, he's been very good. He's been a lot better with it, where he prioritized his family and built his business around his family. But early on, he started to understand the sacrifices that I was making because he was having to make those sacrifices too.
So was the fundamental leg on the table that you were trying to lengthen the money, or the professional? The money. Okay, so the money led the profession. And by the way, you're probably telling yourself, oh, my profession, I'm building this up. I like this. It's fun. It's rewarding. And it's going to help my family. So you're saying by building up the money leg to try to balance the table, the other legs got shorter.
They didn't get shorter. They just stayed the same. So the one got, say, let's call it longer.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
Got longer.
Relatively speaking, the length sort of flip-flopped, though.
Or, yeah. So
your family, you weren't spending time with them.
I wasn't spending as much time with my family.
Your spiritual life, probably.
I was still pouring into it, not as much as I could.
Mm-hmm. And the professional and financial sort of are very similar. It's hard to break them out.
They're similar. I think we justify. Take it.
Oh my gosh, that's Facebook. I got to tell you, the reason I'm taking this call. Let's see what we got here.
Put them on speaker.
Hello.
Hi, this is Pat, a from Meta. Is this Craig?
It is. Thank you for calling. Hey, listen, I got a quick question before I hate to get and cut to the chase, but there's certain time pressures I'm facing right now. I can have the conversation, and I'd really love it if you could actually call me back in 15 minutes. Would that be possible?
No problem.
Okay, that'd be great. But I'm going to tell you know what? That's great. If you could call me in 15 minutes, that would be fantastic.
All right, I'll do that for you.
All right, God bless you. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me know.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, the whole reason I got banned from Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
There's no way you can get customer service to like make your case because I
How'd
think
you get banned?
Well, the first thing I did was I was selling a surplus Pelican case that's good for rifles or guitars, and I said those things in the listing, and they deleted the listing. I said, no, weapons accessories. I'm like, dude, if I was going to sell weapons accessories, you'd know it, dude. I said, but I'm selling this. I was like, fine. So I let it go. I sold it to a friend.
Okay.
And then, unbeknownst to me, and I guess I should know the law, but ignorance is no excuse. But I had my son and I were doing bows and arrows for a while. And he's really shifted to bikes, and the interest isn't there. And like $400, $500 worth of bows and arrows and stuff. And so they aren't like weapons, but they are. They're dangerous. And I put that up there. Well, that was a weapon. I got suspended because I have had 2 strikes against me for weapons. And ChatGPT doesn't know when I'm coming back. Facebook won't tell me. And I really like Facebook Marketplace. So anyway. My Facebook Marketplace table leg is way short right now. But anyway, go back. Let's finish this up. So you were talking about the 4 legs.
Yeah.
And what's like your main, what's the main thing you want to say about that?
Well, I think it's just whichever one. I mean, we talked about it earlier, and what we were talking about is that most of the time, from a worldly perspective or from just a natural human perspective, finances is number one. We don't like to say that and admit that, but it is, right? If your finances, like the number one cause of divorce is
finances.
Got it. When finances go awry, people start making decisions based off how to be able to satisfy that appetite.
So while it might not be the fact that we have less dollars in our account, it's the ripple effect and the impact that no money has on you.
Yeah. And I mean, even if think about that, you'll make a decision. I mean, most of the time people make decisions outside of character because they need to satisfy the appetite of finances.
Yeah, they find the pictures like, I'm young, I needed the money.
I mean, when I was just watching Bridgerton the other night, right, with my wife, not that I was watching it on my own. I still like it.
I don't even
Do
know.
you watch it?
No, I don't watch it.
You should watch it. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
But have your wife watch it with you so you could justify it to all your guys. But there was a scene in it where the husband comes in, and he's just in tears, and he's like, I've made bad financial decisions to the wife, and they're living a lavish life, like in a castle, all the stuff. And he's like, I've made the most horrible decisions, and he just breaks down crying. I don't know what to do. It's so bad. Mm-hmm. The next scene is at a boxing match. And at the boxing match, the guy who's supposed to win kind of looks at him, and he looks at them, and you know that there's something in the communication. Well, you know that the fix is in. And this guy has paid off the boxer, and he bet the deed of his house on this boxer losing.
Right.
They end up winning. He gets the money, but then they find out, right? And it's like that guy wouldn't have done any of those things had the financial appetite not been there.
Yeah, you said earlier, I wrote a couple of things down from our offline conversation. Yeah. You feed where you are starving. You feed where you're starving. So if you're starving financially, that's what you're...
What would you say is in line if we said, like, if we put them in order, not from a Mother Teresa side, but from a humanistic side, if we took personal, professional, spiritual, financial, and you ranked them on how a human actually responds to them, what would they be?
Well, I've got the public answer, but then I have the truth. I have the public answer, but then I have the truth.
Okay.
The truth is spiritual.
Got it.
The spiritual is everything. You're filling in all of those other areas, myself included, you're ultimately filling yourself with a God-shaped hole in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can say, well, I just, my favorite quote from Chariots of Fire, when I run, I feel God's pleasure. That's true. But there's probably other things at play there that aren't being said in the script.
Yeah.
But I really come down and say that it's the spiritual.
Okay.
And
So the spiritual would be first.
yeah, because I start thinking to myself, well, you person X sees an attractive woman in a bar and sleeps with them. It's not because they just suddenly want sexual satisfaction. There's something missing inside them.
Well,
or if they steal, something missing inside them. I think at the very basic level, if you're starving and you don't have the, what is it, Pavlov's hierarchy of needs? No, I think
No, that's Pavlov's dog.
Pavlov's dogs, the hierarchy of needs.
Okay.
If your basic survival is compromised, you're going to do a lot of things differently.
Okay.
You don't truly technically need spiritual fulfillment to stay physically alive. But if you don't have food or water, you'll do anything. Just like the guy in Jean Valjean and Les Mis. He became and was an incredible human being. Okay. But he started off the story by stealing a loaf of bread and getting 19 years. So his basic needs weren't met. But I would say, that doesn't apply to us listening. Because if you have a computer and you have a computer or a subscription, you have enough money, you're not starving. Okay. So for us, let's just say it's the spiritual. Because no one here is starving. And if you are, call us.
Would you say though that there's almost two at play when I say the worldly side or the human side? And then there's the side of what we actually should do, right? There's the desires that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And then there's when I call them the human side, we're all human, right? We are all human. And it's like, I've known what the right thing to do is. The right thing to do is that you put it spiritual, then you would put it personal, then you would put it professional, then you would put it financial.
Yeah, that's a great organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that the way that the world works?
I don't think almost anybody, I'd say 99% of human beings don't do it that way.
So what would be the 99% then in your head? Like what you've experienced in your life?
It depends on who you're looking at. If you look at Jensen Huang, it's certainly not the money. He could sell out and have a trip, but I don't know. He could be the first trillionaire, or he'd certainly have hundreds of billions of dollars. So it's not the money, something else. But I will say I'm not going to say what brings him to work every day.
Is it not the money because the money's there though?
Well, a lot of people who are super wealthy still focus on money, but they're not focusing on money for what it gives them impact. You say the payoff. What did you say? The payoff dictates the action. They're not making an extra billion. I tell you what, there's not a billionaire alive who's going to live a better life with an extra $1 billion.
Yeah.
You can't spend the money faster than interest makes it. Remember Brewster's Millions?
Yeah.
You got 30 days to spend $30 million. I can spend $30 million in one day now, but this is the 1980s with Richard Pryor, and he gets $300 million, right? If he does it.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't do it. He couldn't spend $30 million.
But he had to do it with nothing to show for
right.
it.
Well, I could.
You would help me with that.
I could. But my point is, they're not doing it for the added value that the money brings them. There's something else at play. And we could dig deep into any person's psyche. But I think the biggest thing I learned from you today was that payoff drives action under normal circumstances. And when you break that chain, that's, I think, the beginning of what I would call, right action and right choices.
Well, and I don't know that this is actually true. It's just a thought that came to mind was that most of the time when the financial as a human being, the 99% we're talking about,
right.
The 99% is most of the time driven by, and this sounds bad, but that they're driven financially first. Once that gets met, then they start to think, we as humans, we justify.
I.
Right?
You can use the I word.
Okay, so I justify and say, it's my profession. Like, I just love doing it. It's what I love all the time. And then once the profession is going, the finances are there, profession is going, then I start looking at, okay, me personally, if you look at the trajectory of people, the wealth starts to come, the profession, gets solidified, and then the person starts to look at their relationships, their personal relationships, and their health and all those things. And then they realize that doesn't do it all. So they start to go towards a spiritual side. When we were talking about, and again, this is observation. I don't know this to be completely true, but then we look at the flip side of it, and God is saying, like, let's do it spiritually first. I'll build you personally. I'll build you professionally, and then I'll build you financially. But I'll keep those in order, but I need you to stick with me every day. Like, what did you get from Proverbs 38, verse 8 and 9 when we talked about that?
I'll give you my closing thought on that. My closing thought is that, it says, give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me my daily bread. Give me just enough. And that's actually, it's a really special verse for me. And tied into it is the thought that I have had for the past few days as I've been reading 2 and 3, which is that the heart is the beginning of everything, of knowledge. The heart is the beginning of wisdom. And if you, getting any of this right requires a change in the foundation in the heart. It's not wisdom in the head, it's wisdom in the heart. We could talk about that for hours, but it's the heart where it starts. It's funny, Heart Start's the name of the AED you can buy. It's Philips, it's Amazon. Heart Start. Got to start with the heart. The heart's not, if the heart's not beating, nothing else works. Literally, if the heart's not beating physiologically, don't worry about breathing, get the heart started. Okay? So I think that's where it starts. That's where God says it starts. The 2 biggest things I learned from you today were that payoff in a dysfunctional world, in a dysfunctional me, payoff drives my actions. That's really probably the number one. And I'm going to take that with me.
What about the operating system? Close it with that. This one was massive because, and I want to take I want you to send me your note. I think I have the note.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm going to make that into a PDF and I'll put it in the notes for the people to read because you're a genius. And people need to read and then you know what they're going to do is they're going to force you to write the book that you're talking about.
Well, tell you what, you can put this in a PDF. But I said that the heart is the control center. It's like a computer, and I'm just going to look this up. Oh yeah, here you go. The heart is the operating system. That system ultimately determines how the machine runs. That's us, and what kind of output we produce with our words and our actions. Old Testament, New Testament, that's the fruit of your lives, okay? That's what happens. If the OS is corrupt, no amount of temporary processing power will fix the deeper issue. In the same way, you can process truth, you can analyze it, you can admire it, and you're going to still default to the old patterns because the governing system underneath has not changed.
We have to give a big shout out as we go to Mr. Maddox. Let me see here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see what award he won. He won honorable mention in both categories. He submitted Crazy Eights short film, middle school commercial. AOMS placed in 3 other categories. They placed 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 categories that they did.
Good job, Maddox.
Good job, Maddox. You're the man. Thank you. Go talk to Facebook. Get back on Facebook Marketplace.
I will. They're going to call me, and I'm going to beg them to let me back on.
You're the man.
And you're the man.
There we go.
Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. We begun surfing waves too low, made our own rules everywhere we go. Held tight to the truth that our parents declared. Anything is possible, the love stayed there. Now Rob's daughter ballin' on the end scene. Olay scene, Will's kids live dreams we never could have seen. This the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights.